Be with you again. I'm Pat Sheranian, and my guest today is Lawrence Law.
Nice to meet you, Pat.
Nice to see you.
You
Good to have
too.
you here.
Thank you.
We are so happy to be with you, and I'm particularly happy to be with you because there's snow on our mountains. And I'm starting in deep mourning because I don't ski anymore. But before we get into everything, I have to tell you what's saving me and why I feel so good, even though there's snow in the mountains and I'm bundled up because I'm already freezing. It's about a product called Kyani and the difference it has made in my life. And so I want to share with you this exciting experience, and because I have not had anything this exciting health-wise in 15 years. In July 2010, I had the opportunity to start using the 3 Kyani, that's spelled Kyani, products every day. Within weeks, the medications I was taking for adult onset diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol were no longer needed. I now experience normal blood sugars, blood pressure, and cholesterol, and have for the past 14 months. My life has changed, all for the better. Plus, the pain from arthritis is gone, and I can make a fist. For a while, I could not make a fist. For those of you looking, you can see that, and I can tell you on radio, I can make a fist. And the pain has gone, and I feel younger than I have in years and years and years. I've really made an effort to turn the clock back, and it finally happened all by itself. So I have changed a great deal. These products are 100% guaranteed. If you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, do me a favor and try them. Please call 801-362-9552, 801-362-9552. If you would like more information or a brochure, be happy to do that. If you're on the radio and you're having a little trouble hearing us on 1480 AM because of snow interference, then by all means click onto your internet and go to pat.utahvalleylive.com. You can see me and hear me, and I'll get in front of Lawrence and you can't see him or hear him at all. No, not true.
Thanks, Pat.
You're welcome. I met Lawrence, a couple of years ago now, or just a year ago maybe?
Oh, it's been 2 years,
2 years?
at least. Yeah.
2 years. And he was very knowledgeable in one particular field that I desperately needed. We were all beginning to sink into that period of where we're going to get enough money to do the things we need to do and how we're going to be able to pay the bills that we've got as this recession began to sit in. And I don't know what they're calling it across the country, but most of us are calling it a recession. Out of work, out of money, out of patients, the whole scene. And one day he just mentioned what he was doing. He was doing a couple things, and he mentioned this, and the next thing I planted myself in front of him and said, "Help, I need help." So with that, Lawrence, I want you to tell about yourself, who you are, not everything you've done in your life, but things that are pertaining to our finances. How to fix them, how to get out of the mess we're in, how to be able to breathe again, which I have gone through this, and it was so much fun to have somebody getting the phone calls and the letters, and I didn't have to deal with this, and it wasn't even that much, I wasn't that much in debt. But boy, they don't give you much room to wiggle.
No, they really don't. You said this program was only an hour long. This would take much, much longer than that.
That's why you're coming back next week, and next week, and next week, and next week. Okay.
Well, what we're going to talk about today is, just let me introduce myself. I own a business called Vantage Credit Alliance, which is a credit repair company by attorneys. And this is very significant because of how we do it. We actually become very successful at what we do. Excuse me.
That's winter setting in.
It
just
is.
For those of you that think you like the cold weather, that's the winter setting in already.
Thank you, yeah. But I've been in credit repair for over 17 years now. And during that time, I've been a mortgage loan officer. I have been a real estate investor. I've owned a couple other businesses and realized that there was a lot of people who were having a real struggle with their finances. Excuse me, especially these last 3 years. But even before that, there was a lot of people who did not understand how the credit system worked, and that got them into a lot of trouble. So as far as I'm concerned, or as far as me is concerned, I'm just somebody who really wants to help other people find a solution to the challenges that are really they're facing right now.
And with what, you're in mortgages, you're in investments. So how did you happen to find this company that you've got a plant growing out of the back of your head. Do you want to move your chair a little bit or move that thing over? There.
Now it's on
I
my
feel
shoulder.
so
There you
much
go.
better. I kept seeing the plant move. Okay. How did you find this particular vehicle for yourself personally, or were you doing it for friends to start with? I mean, these folks that I have met through you are in Florida,
Right.
not
Yes.
in Utah. So,
Well, I began because I had some negative information on my credit report when I tried to get a loan, and they said that I couldn't qualify for a loan because I had this negative information. And I scratched my head and said, well, nothing's gone wrong. So I went to the credit bureau at that time, pulled a credit report. They showed me the information, and it was not mine. And I asked them, how could they possibly
oh,
put this information on there that's not mine? And they went into the big spiel of this is just information based on your social security number, your address, your name, and it's yours.
and it wasn't.
It's not mine. And so I began
Was
to
it the
investigate.
person's name, the same name, or same social security?
Similar name, similar social security number, similar address, to the point where, yeah, they can grab a lot of information about you, not with specific information. In other words, only 7 digits of your social security number, 1 letter of your first name, 1 letter of your last name, and a similar address. And they can pull all kinds of information.
My word.
In fact,
Goodness.
79% of all credit reports have negative information on them that's not theirs. 79%.
That's a lot.
That's
That
a
is
huge
lot.
amount.
That's a
Yeah.
huge amount. It really is. So, would I ask the question here? Does it behoove us to go check our own credit and see what they're doing?
Absolutely.
I would
In
think
fact,
so.
we would recommend it at least twice a year. Just go to annualcreditreport.com.
All right, say that again.
Annualcreditreport.com.
Okay.
And you can get a free credit report from all 3 credit bureaus. I recommend just getting one of them because that way you'll be able to get the information on there that generally is covered by all 3 credit bureaus, because you can only get it once a year for free. So if you get it from one credit bureau at the beginning of the year, halfway through, check it again, halfway through, check it again, or do it
Okay,
quarterly.
so let's say that you find out that, well, it isn't all correct, or you don't remember owing that, or you don't remember that department store credit card, and yet there it is. So
Well,
it is a big deal to everybody.
the main problem is the credit bureaus are just a repository for information. Now, information should be correct on that credit report, right?
So they don't go look for it; they're finding it.
Oh, they hunt
does
for
it
it.
come to them, or do they really hunt for it?
They really hunt for it because they are trying to put negatives on your credit report.
Eh?
They make billions of dollars doing so. That's the plain and simple truth of it.
Who pays them? The people that.
Oh, everybody who applies for credit, everybody who gets a credit report or a credit score. You can't get a credit score unless you pay for it. And it's through the credit bureaus that you pay for that. And if you think that you have a good credit report, go try apply for a loan. They say they deny it. Then you go back and you pull it again. I mean, that's 3 times so far. When you're trying to repair your credit, you apply for doing credit repair. There's all kinds of reasons why you would want a credit report, and they charge you for it every single time. Plus, they sell your data, all of your data, to thousands and thousands
No.
of businesses on
No,
a regular.
I did not give them permission.
Yes, you did.
Where did I sign something that said they could?
You didn't sign anything
Because it's out there.
because it's there and they gathered the information.
Wow.
Exactly.
You've invaded my privacy, all of you out there who do this. I just know that you suddenly one day you miss a payment and you've got phone calls coming at you and you've got letters coming and threatening. And I thought, what did I do? What happened here? Did I call these people up and tell them to come after me? But literally I did, because I put the information out there somewhere.
Well, applying for a loan, it's, this Freedom of Information Act. There's all kinds of ways that they can collect that data under the pretense that it's for your good. Well, baloney. It's not.
It's not good.
No, they try and hang on to your negative information because they make billions of dollars.
Okay, in the business you're in now, in this business of fixing and repairing,
Hmm.
and this debt service, um, is it? Are we in such a huge mess? It seems like every time I turn around, I'm getting a commercial inviting me to call them and give them all of my information. They'll get it repaired. That's very scary to me. I don't know who these people are. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they'll do with my information. I was
Right.
fortunate because I knew Lawrence and felt like I could sit down and ask him questions and talk about it. You reassured me that the group of attorneys you work with have been around for a very long time and had a very good track record, so I felt safe. They've turned out to be wonderful. So, are you just deluged now with people trying to get out of the mess they're in, or has it kind of been this way all along? The finance is not my first choice. Thank goodness my son went through, one of them went through accounting, got his degree in accounting, and he manages to keep me straight. So, but I've become more aware. We've all had to become more aware because we don't have the freedom to spend like we used to.
Well, that's true. And a lot of people have lost a lot of hours with their job, or they've lost their job altogether. Their whole industry might have been collapsing around them. We saw time frames
Mm-hmm.
where construction crews, total construction companies go out of business because there was no home building anymore. Um, Real estate people now are just suffering terribly because there's no real estate being sold, not on the scale that it was 3 years ago.
I have a son who's an appraiser in Southern California. Good luck.
Exactly,
Nothing
whole
is selling. The
industries.
whole industry, everybody's been affected. So now we have all these people out of work, we have everybody in debt, and no one knows where to turn. So I want to know how bad it needs to be before they turn to you. I mean, they owe $200? Is that worth calling somebody about, or do they have to be 10,000 in debt, 20,000, 100,000? What has to happen here?
Well, what you're talking about is a debt settlement service that we have, which is really unique in the industry because we actually remove the negative off the credit report at the same time that we settle the debt, and we also settle that negotiate that removal. Otherwise, that negative will be on that credit report for another 7 years after the last payment has been paid.
So go back over the steps. The person I come in to see you, I came
Hmm.
in to see you, and you said we'll take care of it, and you didn't charge me anything at that point.
Oh no, our
It
analysis is
I had a
always
checkbook
free.
ready to go, and you didn't do that.
We
And
take donations.
I've heard that before. Um, so then you got in touch. You put my information in the computer. Then that went to your attorneys down in Florida, right?
Correct.
Then they actually contacted me by phone
Hmm.
and requested from me any other letters that I get, anything that I were ever received, send them fax them a copy of it, which I have done. And then they said, well, can you pay this much or this much or this much? And we found a figure that worked, which really surprised me. I expected to get beat up and told I had to do X right now or they couldn't do anything. And they didn't, and they worked with me. So I don't understand what goes on their end.
Well, what happens there is that they are very aware that people are struggling, and they are going to work very closely with you in doing what is necessary to accomplish the task without beating you up. That's also true with our credit repair process. It's a matter of getting things done in a way that meets with your lifestyle, and they do it
That's
very well.
great. They do.
We've had people who just couldn't finish up their contract with them, and we don't report them to the collection agencies. We just tried to collect or correct that type of situation. They're very forgiving, they're very understanding, and this is the reason why I've worked with these attorneys and discovered that they are literally the best in the nation. We just discovered that they work with D.R. Horton, and D.R. Horton is the nation's largest home builder. And so D.R. Horton sends all of their clients, credit repair clients, to them to use their services. And
So that speaks highly. That
very,
speaks
very
highly of
highly,
it.
you bet.
On your end, and you're located, where's your office now?
We're in Spanish Fork,
You're in Spanish Fork,
hmm
and
but we can go national.
so you go anywhere that people need you via the
Absolutely.
phone, or if they're
The internet is wonderful.
it certainly is. I will say that. So much happens so much quicker. I found that I was going into an anxiety over the debt. And I live alone. I'm single. My kids are grown. And they don't really want to hear. Most kids don't want to hear what you're doing with your finances. And they were in a mess. They were in a mess too. And I don't know who created this mess. Did we do this to ourselves? Were we just that lax, or has the economy just collapsed under everything and created this problem for all of us? I can blame it on the president. I can blame it on the past president. But the fact is, it turned out to be my problem.
Well, it is your problem, but there are so many factors involved with this whole financial. It became a perfect storm with multiple different challenges from all different angles, creating the whole system that has really failed. Now, understand that the credit bureaus are doing their part in this failure process because they're not allowing people to repair their credit and to challenge the information in a way that anything really works well. Because they're trying to make money, they keep that negative information on there as much as possible. But if they were really willing to work with us, we would be able to see the information is only allegation. It's not proven. None of this information that's on your credit report has been proven. None of the information on your credit report has been proven to be legitimate.
Is that up to me to then have to prove what is and what isn't?
No, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty.
But you're not, because you're accused.
That's correct.
There were things on my credit report that I had lived places I had not lived because of my last name. Somebody else has the same last name, similar to what happened to you. Maybe because of a child that was in school at the time and took out a loan. And I didn't live in 4 different places that they gave an address that I was supposed to have lived there. And I thought, I didn't live there. How did you get this information? And I still don't understand how they picked that up. And then to do something with it. And I have another question. When I use a charge account, and if let's say I lost my job or I died or something happened, I thought those charge accounts were insured, that I paid a type of insurance each month in my payment, that if something happened to me, they couldn't come after me, but they can.
That would be dependent upon the contract that you actually have with the credit card company.
The fine print
the fine print, 3 pages of fine print.
Yes, it's this big, like that,
That's
less
correct.
than a millisecond there.
But understand that there isn't a credit card company today that does not have a class action lawsuit against them for improper practices. And we could go into a long...
Wait, say that again. The credit card companies are in lawsuits for improper practices?
That is correct, yes. For all kinds of different things. Some are not reporting the credit limits. Some will charge you a late fee because of holding mail over time period, 2 or 3 days before they open it
No
up,
way.
so that it goes past the due date. And there's
And then
all
I
kinds
argue
of...
with them. And I get on the phone. I say, no, you should have gotten this 1 week ago. I'm sorry, we didn't get it in time. Bang, $35 right there.
And this is why our credit education is so extremely powerful, because if you understand the rules of the road of how this all operates, you'll stop doing the things that will cause you to be in that kind of jeopardy.
Are you going to tell us what those are?
Well, a simple one for this one is just pay your bill 2 weeks early. 2 things happen with that, and it really affects 65% of your credit score when you do these 2 things. Yeah,
Okay.
It's very simple, because if you pay your credit card bill on time, it's actually been posted with a debt to credit limit ratio to the credit bureaus, and if that is over certain thresholds, it can actually lose you points. So paying it on time, you also have the possibility of it being late. Whether it's through the mail or whether you pay it online, it could still be late because they have policies and procedures that may hold that payment for an hour, 24 hours, 72 hours, depending upon the credit card company.
I had no idea.
Oh, there are all kinds of stall tactics and little gotchas that they use.
And we don't know anything about it.
They make more money from the fees and penalties than they ever do from interest.
Huh.
By multiples of times.
So pay early. Start with that. Try and
absolutely.
As long as you've got to pay them early.
When you pay it early, by at least 2 weeks, you're actually paying it so that the payment applies to the balance and pays down the debt to credit limit ratio. It gets reported to the credit bureaus with that lower debt to credit limit ratio, which increases your credit score. You're never late, which also increases your credit score, and you're in a much better position.
Okay, mine was 7.2. Is that good?
7.2 meaning what?
My credit score.
Credit score goes between a 300 and an 850 credit score.
So it would have been 750 then.
So 720?
Maybe 720, 750, somewhere in there.
Okay. Well, a 720 is an okay credit score. Used to be 3 years ago. It was great. I mean, fantastic. But anymore, you need a 740 credit score to get the best interest rates, and a 760 credit score to get the best insurance rates.
Oh.
And that can actually double, triple, and quadruple because of bad credit. And it is directly linked to your credit score.
What does that mean, the 760, the insurance that you're talking about? What kind of insurance?
You're talking about auto and home insurance. That's what they'll actually check your credit score. They'll see what kind of score you have.
Somebody with a 600 score trying to buy a car
will have much higher insurance rates, and interest rates, but much higher insurance rates based on that credit score. Absolutely. To the point
how did
where
this get so out of hand, where somebody else is controlling everything?
Somebody with a great mind to figure out this amazing way to manipulate the public and steal literally billions of dollars from them.
And that's what it is, isn't it?
It is. They created their own industry. True.
And we pay for it.
I think it's a great idea to have a way to gauge people's payback history and that kind of thing, but it needs to be done on a fair basis. 79% of incorrect information on a credit report is not acceptable. It's just...
How do you clean that up? How do we clean it up? How do we personally clean it up? How much time do you have?
That's a difficult question, because it used to be that you could send in a dispute and they would actually respond to it in a timely manner. And so things have changed. Laws have been created so that they will respond in a timely manner. It used to be 30 days, now it's 35 days that the credit bureaus have in which to investigate. They end up spending 7 minutes to actually investigate all the information on your credit report that you've disputed.
7 minutes?
In 35 days. That's correct. At which point, how much can they really check on during that time? It's just, the whole thing is so bizarre. It's just like you're in the Twilight Zone.
I bet you I feel like I'm there now. Okay, so we're talking about this mess, and then a question would be, what does this affect? Everything that we are, everything that we have?
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything that I feel like I'm a prisoner to the systems that are there, I thought, to help us.
You are a prisoner. It really comes down to that. You're shackled by the fact that the credit bureaus and the interest rates, or the credit scores that you have, affect not only your interest rates, but also your insurance rates, which also affect your opportunities that you may have or now don't have because of that. It also affects your employment. It affects your ability to...
Wait, back up. Why my employment? Let's say somebody's just getting out of college, and they've got all these bills, or they've been through medical school and they've got more bills, and they need to buy a house for their little family, and they're just new at all of this. Are they affected by this prisoner thing of interest and And
Well, absolutely. As soon as they get a
but
social
they're
security,
clean and they're pure. They don't owe anything except legitimate stuff. I'm
yes
not
and
talking
no.
about buying clothes and buying food.
Well, sure, and it all is dependent upon their payback history, how much debt that they have versus the credit limits, it where they live, how many times they've moved, their employment history, how many times that they've been employed. All of these things get reported onto their credit report. As soon as you get a Social Security number, that information begins to be gathered from multiple.
Babies now have social security numbers.
Oh, absolutely.
And they start from birth gathering information.
Well, there's definitely not going to be a lot of information gathered, but if some information is pertaining to that Social Security number, let's say that the identity of that baby has been stolen. Somebody else could be putting information on that Social Security number, and that information is gathered by the reporting agencies and collected. And by the time you're 6, you could have an incredibly bad credit score on your credit report.
I'm glad that Cayenne is our sponsor because it keeps me calm. There are 3 products in the Cayenne company, and one of them is omega-3, and it's fish oil, and it calms me. And I may take the whole bottle sitting here behind me. I find this enormously aggravating to all of us because we're aware there's some things going on. The problem is being able to fix it. Let me tell you a little bit more about Cayenne, then we'll try and get this fixed. I fixed myself health-wise, and I want to stay that way, which is why I have Lawrence Law with me today, who has helped me straighten out my problem. I thought, but now I'm hearing him and I wonder how straightened out I am after all. Cayenne has 3 products. I have been on them for a year and a half. I am no longer diabetic. I do not have high blood pressure. I do not have high cholesterol. I have overcome all of my arthritic pain. My hands are crippled. Can you see those crippled hands? But there is no pain. And I'm only 60.
That's
Say
amazing.
yes.
Say
Say yes. Right. Okay.
Pat,
Good.
you're amazing. You're
I
in
am.
great shape.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I paid him. And so I want to give you a number to contact me, please, and learn more about these wonderful products that made a huge difference in everyone's life who has tried them, in particular mine. My number is 801 362 9552. 801 362 9552. I'll be happy to answer your questions, send you brochures, give you other websites to look at, Kyani.net, Kyani. And now I've got winter in my throat. Excuse me. There, that's better. So I want you to try these products because I am sick and tired of you being sick and tired. I was sick and tired for 14 years. My life has changed. I'm not ready to challenge you to a race, but I'm getting closer.
Okay, let's do it.
And he's half my age. Well, not quite. Okay, I want to go back.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you am. Do not get out of here. Well, you can't leave until you tell us what's going on here.
Okay.
Okay, so now we talked a lot about the problem, some of the problems. I can't even imagine what has happened to some of the people. I look at one of our buildings, this shell of a building out in Orem that was going to be a city center. And I think there's a pizza place in it, and that's about it. And that thing just stands there. And I look at all these half-built homes and homes that are built and have been empty. And I think about the real people behind all of these events and issues and projects and everything that they had dreams in. And we're really a pretty fortunate state. We really are, because there is some building continuing and there is some money and there's a lot of trust factor. But I can't think in the world how other people are getting through this. How are they living? How are they making ends meet at all?
Quite frankly, Pat, I think that there's a lot of people who are not. And they are living hand to mouth. They are struggling. They are really seriously fearful of the future. And that creates a huge challenge. Our particular industry, credit repair, is one that you would think would be just exploding. And
Can they find you in the phone book, or do you need to let's give out a phone number where people can get a hold of you?
The phone number is 801-769-9443. and we will do a free credit analysis. It does not cost you any money. We will pull a credit report, a free one, that does not hurt your credit, and go through all of the items on your credit report to be able to show you where the damage is, and then what that means, how that affects your credit score, and what it would take to actually clean that up.
So you do a whole analysis of the information.
Absolutely.
And then let's say it's not good news.
Okay. At that point, then we recommend doing, we have 4 different services. We do credit repair. If you have a lot of debt, we could do a debt settlement.
Wait, let's go back. What is the
Okay.
difference between credit repair and fixing credit, or
Okay.
what does that really mean to?
Well, credit repair is one that really needs to be done when you are in a stable environment, when you're paying your bills on time, and
So you have to be employed.
employment would be good. Some way to have income source. A lot of people with investments on a regular basis, that as long as you're able to pay your bills on time.
Okay.
Okay, because if you are not paying your bills on time, damage is still happening and still being reported to the credit bureaus. And even if we were to go and repair it, it would come back and it wouldn't do you any good. You'd be wasting your money, and you might as well put that towards bills that actually will correct the problem rather than create more. Does that make sense?
It does. The thing that I found out with this company that I couldn't even imagine happening, let's just say it was $20,000 that I owed. Actually, it was more. And then we found a figure that worked for me. They then turned around and said, if I can do this in this period of time, keep the payments going within, I think it was a 12-month, 18-month time, that they could save me $7,000 on my total debt and get it all paid off.
Right.
And I don't know how they are doing that, but they tell me it's working. Okay, and so you said there's the debt repair, and that you have to be solvent.
Right, the credit repair.
Okay.
Now, if you have a lot of debt that is...
So it's credit repair, not debt repair. Or is that the
Yes.
same thing?
No, credit repair and then debt settlement.
The reason I am doing this is there are a lot of mothers out there with children that live alone and they don't have enough to make ends meet. And there are a lot of men out there that are totally frustrated that they cannot afford their families anymore. And it's got to be absolute hell to at the end of the week not have enough money to feed your kids, whether you're male, female. It's just got to be awful. I don't know how some can stand the stress. All right, you've taken the stress off of me. Let's see if we can get it off of everybody.
Okay.
But okay.
So the credit repair actually is a 1-year service that it's a membership, so that you have unlimited disputes with the credit bureaus through the attorneys.
Okay.
And this is totally unique. Pat, this is something that I need people to understand, because there's lots of credit repair companies out there, and you could spend, I think you could even probably spend $15 a month, all the way up to $150 a month in credit repair, and you won't touch the service that we provide, literally, because there are mom and pop shops out there. There are people who say they're credit repair companies. They'll take your money and you'll never see hide nor hair from
That's
them
the
again.
scary one. That's
And
the scary
it
one.
really is a big scam industry. And so what we've done
And
is,
why are they there? Because they can be.
because they can be.
It's not regulated.
That's right. And what we have done is, through our attorneys, we have provided 7 different services, credit repair being the major one, that when you're in a membership with us, you have unlimited access to all of these services.
Am I in that membership?
You are in that membership, absolutely.
Good.
And-
Check mark that.
But part of that is that you have unlimited disputes by the attorneys on legal letterhead. That's significant, because that's less than 1% of all credit repair companies have that kind of a service.
I know I threatened one of the companies that I owe money to. I threatened them and I said, you just have to have some patience here. And they came back really rude.
Mm-hmm.
with your company, I've never had to speak to them again. I get a note every month that says, "Thank you for making your payment." And I didn't make it, the company made it for me. And now they're very nice because all of that was taken off of my shoulders.
Oh, that's great.
And
Love to hear those
that's what you
stories.
did. That's a check mark for you.
Thank
Okay.
you, Pat.
Okay. Okay.
Also involved in that is unlimited consultation. And that means that there's lots of questions, understanding how this whole thing works. You also get an account with an ID and a password so that you have total access to your information and the credit repair process. Now that's credit repair. Debt settlement is a totally different service.
Okay.
And a different fee structure. It's for those people who have $10,000 worth of debt that they are not able to take care of and pay for. We help them settle that debt at 50% off and also negotiate the removal of the negative off the credit report at the same time. So as they can make their payments, it's paid into an escrow account until it comes to a certain point at which then it's negotiated, removed, done. It's all gone, as if it never happened.
That's the piece I don't understand. How can the attorneys get that wiped off and repair my credit at least to where it was?
Well, that's
They told me
because,
that, and I thought, I just said, yay, and hung up the phone.
well, it's a matter of dangling the, cash in front of them. If they have a certain amount of cash, they can write off the rest on their books and be done with it. They know that they probably wouldn't get that much if they tried to work with you because there's so many other places that a little bit of money can go that if they can negotiate a certain amount, they're happy to get it and run.
Lawrence Law is my guest today. Thank goodness I'm learning what I'm in the middle of doing, and it's really, thank you, I'm rewarding.
Oh, you're welcome.
You can reach him by calling 801-769-9443. That's 801, is that right? Am I doing this right?
You are doing it right.
769-9443. Call him and call your friends and tell them about this because this is a man I trust. I have known him for the past year. He will never know how much I found about him that was all good on the internet, except now you know. And so I did a search because I wanted to know what I was getting into because my trust factor is not very good when it comes to people handling money for me. Or managing my money. I have, as I said, my children have helped, and that's been great. But when I go to an outside service, I want to know who's dealing with my money.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
And somebody that
You
I can
should know.
trust, and I can come get you. I know where you live. So that has turned, I'm going to give the number one more time, 801-769-9443. Okay, so now we've got two, and you say there's 7 different ways of repairing this. Is that right?
Well, there are 7 different services within
Okay.
the credit repair 1-year membership. Okay. We actually have 4 different services, credit repair being 1, debt settlement being 2. Our third one is credit education. Credit education is totally free. We don't charge for that at all. I have a blog at lawrencemlaw.com.
Spell Lawrence. Start from the beginning.
Oh, yes. LAWRENCE. Lawrence at lawrencemlaw, LAW.com. And there we've put in literally hundreds and hundreds of tips and strategies on how to repair your credit from the proactive side. See, there's 2 major parts of credit repair. First is the damage from the past. Everything that's gone on before is a permanent record with the credit bureaus for 7 to 10 years or more, depending upon how they want to hang on to it. And then also, what are you doing today and in the future with all of your finances? That becomes very critical because how you pay your bills, when you pay your bills, what is your debt to credit limit ratio, how much debt you actually have, where you live, how you live, all of those kinds of things really do affect your credit scores and affect your future.
So do you answer these in the blog? I mean, can you take questions?
Oh,
Do you-
absolutely.
On
Yeah,
the phone, can you consult with people that?
we do.
I mean, really get into it without it costing them a lot of money? And that
Just give a call. We do answer the phone. We do answer the questions, and our consultation is free. I mean, why should we hold you hostage to information? That's just ridiculous. So
But
we
people
absolutely
do.
uh,
All the time we're being
well,
charged.
that's their problem, and they're going to have to live with it. We don't.
Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad to
Okay.
know that. Okay, then I'm keep interrupting you, but let's get through the four types here. We got credit education,
Right.
and we've got debt service, and we've got credit repair. Okay.
Okay. So let me just go on about the credit education. This is critical because it's the roadmap or the game instructions on how this game of credit is really worked. That becomes critical. But if you understand the rules of the road, then it all fits together. It works.
Okay.
Okay, because then you can dodge those things that can trip you up. For instance, if you get one late on your credit report, that will cost you instantly 100 to 120 points.
No.
That's nuts.
So you take a vacation, you don't get back in time, you're a couple of days late, you got the $35 fee, but besides that, you lose points.
You lose up to 100, 120 points. That's correct. And that late will stay on your credit report for 7 years, doing damage. Now, yes, over time it does lessen. We understand that. But there's all kinds of those little tips and strategies that you can learn and understand and keep in the background of your mind so that if you want to go and you go to Dillard's and they offer that credit card and you've already got 3 credit cards, you're going to turn them down because a new account takes 4 years to mature and hits your credit score 7 different ways and can lose you up to 100 points. It's just crazy.
Wah.
Don't do it.
Okay.
In fact, Pat, let me do this for you.
I'm seeing myself go clip, clip, snip, 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 snip. It's like cutting up all my credit cards.
Be very cautious. There's another tip. Do not close an account unless you know what the heck you're doing.
I learned that the wrong way.
Oh,
I mean, I learned that the wrong, hard way. I just tried to close all my accounts. Whoa, my credit score went dunk.
Drop like a rock.
It did.
Because 15% of your credit score is based on credit history. And that is very potent because, let me ask a hard question. How long does it take for you to replace 10 years of credit history?
I have no idea.
Think about it, Pat.
I don't have any idea.
What color was George Washington's white horse?
Black, white.
Okay. How long does it take? 10 years
10 years.
to replace 10 years of credit. It takes 10 years. That's a long time in anybody's book. I don't care how old you are.
And that's without taking out bankruptcy or anything, right?
Or anything. That's correct. It's just your credit history. And if you close an account with 10 years of credit history, that can be extremely damaging and cost you a lot of points. So you want to be cautious about what you're closing and snipping up and throwing away and all this kind of thing.
All right. So if you don't close it and you just let it sit there, but you cut up the card, so you're not using the card anymore, but it looks like it's open.
Right. And that can be very beneficial to you. And
it's open with zero balance.
With zero balance. That's correct. And still serve you very, very well for many years to come.
Okay, I did one thing right. Okay.
Okay, good.
I didn't close them all.
You know what I'd like to do is tell the audience what it takes to...
Right there.
Right there.
Okay.
Tell the audience what it would take to get an 850 credit score. And it really is simple. The application is difficult. But let me start out by first saying you will need to get 1 to 2 national bank credit cards. And people say, what's that? Okay, first of all, a national bank is someone like Bank of America,
Wells Fargo,
Citi, Chase, Zions Bank is a national bank. Those kinds of banks, it's tougher to get into their credit card system because they have higher standards. And of course, you can see why it would be better for you to have a national bank rather than other types of credit cards.
A small credit union.
We love credit unions. They have really good interest rates, and they serve the public well. But as far as the credit bureaus are concerned, You need a national bank
Okay.
credit card, at least one, and on your account.
Does it make any difference if it's debt or credit? Debit
It,
or credit?
oh, it must be credit. Yeah, a
Okay.
debit card doesn't do anything
Well, I have
for
a
your
couple of
credit.
cards that'll go either way.
That's true, but they're still debit cards. They're not credit cards, and they do not report to
Well,
the
that's
credit
true. It comes
bureaus.
right out of my account. It doesn't charge anything anywhere.
And so
Okay.
there's no credit happening, and it will but not be reported.
Okay.
Okay, so the next thing is you need to have a very high limit. Now, what that is depending upon how comfortable you are, because some people I know have a $5,000 limit and they go crazy with that, and other people have a $100,000 limit. But what you want to have is the debt to credit limit ratio to be as low as possible, which means that your balance is as low as possible. So a very low,
Even though you have a high limit, you keep it low.
very high limit, very low balance,
Okay.
paid as agreed, on time, for 49 years.
Good grief. Wait a minute. I don't have 49 years.
So the history, the credit history, how long you've had that card is very, very important. And like I mentioned just a moment ago, it takes 4 years to mature an account. Up until that time, it's a new account, and it actually has a reason code that's reported on your account that you have a new account, and that's actually docking you from credit points.
Docking you from credit points.
Well, taking away your
So
credit points.
all these kids that when they get out of college, they get every day they get a new credit card.
Okay.
And so as they exercise each one of them, they're lowering their score.
Well, let's begin with this. Yes, it is, and you only need one credit card. Why would you need anything else? If you have a very high limit.
It looks easy. I know. I've lived through children.
And
It looks easy.
Well, you have the understanding from the credit card companies that you've got to have multiple credit cards to have good credit.
That's not true.
It's a lie.
One more lie in this financial mess.
Welcome to the world.
Oh, goodness. Okay, Lawrence Law is my guest, and in the next few weeks, he's going to get us all straightened out, and today's a good shot at it. So let's give your phone number again, 801-769-9443. 769-9443. And give him a call, and he'll give you the time and put energy into it and not charge you. And you just can't find that anymore in this world. So we've still got some time. So let's go on with this, because I know we haven't gotten to the bottom of it by any means. So I think we were headed to from credit education. And then moving to the next one.
We do. Our fourth service is one that we call cash flow generation. We found that the number one cause of bad credit is bad cash flow. It's kind of one of those duh.
Duh. Is it black or white? Duh. Okay, got it.
For the simple reason.
People want to pay on time. They do. Most people are good,
Absolutely.
honest people, and they want their debt gone, and yet they have to live. And there are things today there isn't enough cash to buy groceries, and they do put them on credit cards. I can't imagine ever putting groceries on a credit card until I had to.
Absolutely. And so, you see so many people who are struggling with the finances. We've noticed over the last 3 years that our business has declined quite significantly because of the number of people who need credit repair and can't afford it. Because they can't even afford to take care of their regular bills.
And that was my question at the top of the hour was, do you have more people now, which seems like you would have, and yet if they can't pay anything?
It's really difficult. It's a real struggle for people. So we have discovered that we needed to find some way. For many years, we suggested, well, go out and get a second job. Go out and start a home business or do something like this. And it made sense because people needed that extra income. The last 3 years have multiplied that dramatically, and we started doing our own research at that point. What does it take? Number one, what does it take to significantly impact an average person or family's finances on a monthly basis? We discovered that $179 a month would have stopped most foreclosures from happening
$179 made the difference?
nationally. That's correct. It's almost absurd. And yet people are losing their homes because of a simple $179 a month.
You know, I have said over the years for people that have gotten involved in network marketing that even a couple of $100 would make a difference. And then I moved that up to $500 would make a difference. And you're saying that at $79, that second job, whatever that might be, could have made the difference.
That's correct. Yes. We discovered also that $427 a month would have stopped most bankruptcies from happening.
Ah,
And so that number that you came up with is the same number that we came up with. That's that $500 a month extra would impact most individuals or families' finances on a dramatic scale. It would probably save them from being in desperate situation. It's that dramatic. And it's only $500. So then we researched and we looked into, okay, what does it take to create that extra $500? We found out that an extra job, a second job at 3.5 hours at $7 an hour would create that $500. But that doesn't include the extra taxes, and it doesn't include the babysitting. It doesn't include the job or
you're spending gas to go. You have to
the
buy
car and the
food to
gas
eat
and
wherever you
the
are.
uniform and everything else
Everything.
that's related to that. And so you have to kick that up an hour or two. Okay, so you could do the easiest. One of the easiest things is we discovered that was it $100,000 at 6% interest. Invest that in a bank, and you could make an extra $500 a month. But you have to have
the 100,000.
and
Tacky.
then
I want
find
it
the
fixed without
6%.
putting the money up.
Okay.
Gosh.
So you could also go to your boss and ask him for a $3.50 an hour raise. And that would also take care of the extra $500 a month. But what we found was that a lot of people were actually being laid off, their hours cut. They go in and they become the target of their boss rather than the benefit of their boss. And so that really hasn't worked out well. There's lots of different ways. What we discovered and found is that a home-based business that is reputable and workable can actually create the kind of income, but it has to have the right criteria, and that's where people get into trouble. Some more statistics. 97% of the home-based business industry fail. They try it, they get into it, they spend more money than they make, and they fail. And that's, to me, is a...
Do we know why? Is it because they're not working, because they don't have to punch a clock or show up at 8 and leave at 5? They let life get in the way of a home business, because it happens.
Absolutely.
You can wake up and say, the next 4 hours I'm going to do this, and that's all I'm going to do. And then life happens.
Sure.
And you don't get it done this day, and then the next day, and then the next. And pretty soon you're finding excuses not to do it, and you fail.
Well, why are those excuses there? There's lots of reasons why people fail, but usually it's the number one reason is that they're not making money.
That's it.
There's high risk. There's money going out on a regular basis for products, for websites, for back offices, and all the other fees that are involved with a home-based business, and yet there's no money coming in. Now, let's say that there was money coming in. Then they would have the potential of putting that as a priority now, because they can see that they're actually succeeding.
They're earning something.
Absolutely.
So they're motivated by that.
And so
You
then
put
we
1 hour
understand.
in, you now can put 2 in. Okay.
Right. But the compensation plans, the income sources that are available, are not taking care of the individual in a way that would give them hope and give them the possibility of actually being a success.
Let's give your phone number again, and also your blog address. You shoot.
801-769-9443 is my phone number. And the blog is Lawrence, that's Lawrence, at Oh, excuse me. That's my
You're
email.
about to give your email away. Okay.
LawrenceMLaw.com. LAW.
Okay. And
Okay.
that's your blog.
That's the blog.
What's the M?
It stands for Marion. It's my father's name.
Your father's name.
Yeah.
So lawrencemlaw.com.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Because he has helped me, and we're going to do this again several more times until we fully understand this credit thing and debt. I do have one question in here, and you were headed towards something, and I want to make sure we have a minute or two for that because you're involved in something that has helped your family.
Absolutely.
And so I want to hear a little bit about that. But if you are going through this repair and you need to buy a car, I mean, you paid all the repairs you can pay. In other words, can you go ahead and raise and get further into debt and be with the company you're with, or do they cut you off and say, hey, I don't want you to raise any more, I don't want you to have any more debt?
No, again, we understand that life hits you right in the face. And so what we do is we find solutions.
Good, because Kyanie just gave me a car. It's an Audi, a $40,000 car, but they're paying for it. But I have to have credit.
You have to qualify.
I have to qualify. First, I qualified by sharing enough product and having enough money coming in through Kyanie that they awarded me for my hard work. And then I found out.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
You better congratulate. And because it has changed my life, and I'm just can hardly wait to get in my new car, but then I have to qualify for a loan, even though they're paying for it.
Okay, that's true. And so then you have a situation where you're looking at, where is my credit right now? Could I actually go in and qualify for a loan? Again, we'll have to take a look at the credit report and see where you're at this point, see what your credit score is before we could advise that you could run off and do that.
Okay.
It may be.
You want to loan me some money? I can share the car. You get it one day a month.
Pat, what you can do is you can take in that money and put it into a special savings account.
Okay.
And then when you do qualify, and I don't know that you don't qualify now, but when you do qualify,
I just won it last Friday.
you would actually have a bigger down payment towards the car, which means that your loan would be lower, your interest rate would be lower, and your payments would be lower.
And does that sound good? I think that sounds good. Can you do that this afternoon? Fix this. Okay, we've got about 3 minutes, and let's have you mention, because you got into this, and you did tell me a little about it, and I did get a little bit involved. I haven't heard a lot yet because I haven't followed it very closely. But we've got 2.5 minutes now.
Okay. What she's referring to is a company that we are recommending to people to get into as a cash flow generation program. You ask yourself, why is a credit repair expert recommending cash flow generation? Well,
Because
that's kind of a
we don't have cash flow.
Because you need cash flow to pay your bills. You need cash flow to get yourself out of this slump that we're in nationally. And so we have done a huge amount of research and come up with a long list of criteria for a business that would work for an average family or individual that doesn't cost a lot of money, doesn't cost a lot of time, and doesn't cost a lot of effort. And we narrowed it down to one, and one only at this point. I know you're sharing.
I'll get him in Kyanie. He'll get old one day, and he'll be so grateful to me for giving him Kyanie. He's not young enough to prevent illnesses yet, but he'll catch on to that too. Okay.
Well, and I understand
that
the Kyanie is an excellent product.
It is.
But what we're looking for is a way to solve a major problem with 97% of the population. And this is where the II Life comes into effect.
I wrote that down the first time, and then I couldn't make myself say it. So it's II.
The THE.
THE.
Back off. What you need to start with is the.
Oh, the.
There you go.
The II
Life.
Life. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Like theIIlife.com,
Okay.
which is a home-based business. It only costs $25 a month, but every 2 months you receive a $50 savings bond. And so there's no risk. And that's the beginning
That's
of
why I
what this
stayed in
is
it.
about.
That's all I know, what you just heard. Okay, we've got about 3 seconds here. Is that what it is? 10 seconds. Okay. How can they get hold of you? Same number?
Same number,
Okay, because they want to hear
absolutely,
more
or
about
go
it.
to theIIlife.com.
iilife.com. This is Lawrence Law, and we're grateful to have you with us today. Thank you very much. I'm Pat Sheranian. Have a great day. Be healthy wherever you are. Be safe.